the people that carried me through my childhood. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I definitely wouldn't be here without them. So I'd like to welcome Daniel Wilson, Abu Bakr, and Saul's Blessing to the stage. Let me sort you.
It just frozen.
Saul's gonna be here in just a second. Don't watch this. He's a great timekeeper in general. It's me who's usually late. Can I get a hand for my lovely mentors? These guys carried me through. Thank you very much for everything you've done for me. It's a pleasure to have you all up here with me. What I want to know is, what is it that made you all want to do what you did and support the community in the way that you have? Can we start with Daniel Wilson?
Well, for me, all these years ago, I would say almost 17 years ago, being a father myself and watching the negative portrayal of black men on media, which I know was not reflected in real life, I wanted the opportunity to be able to show young black boys in particular that actually there are positive male role models out there, and that you can do well in life if you study hard and chase your dreams. So that's why I became a mentor.
I think for me, being a mentor was because of the type of disparities and disadvantages that I went through as a youngster. I was able to read and write before I went to school, and obviously when I went to school, there was not many black people in the school in Cardiff, because I grew up in Cardiff. So my education to a large degree was suppressed from the age of 7 right up until 16. Going to secondary school, being forced into the remedial class and left there, even though I was getting top scores. So there was a lot of disadvantages for me, so I felt for myself as I was growing up that I would try to do something to try to change this. Because at the time I wanted to be a computer engineer, and I was told by teachers it was impossible because people from my type of background don't go into that sort of industry. So that basically destabilized me emotionally, psychologically, where my motivation and self-esteem was concerned. But I had a second love, which was catering. I went to the catering industry. I was a professional chef, I had a diploma in professional cookery. What I started noticing that most of the black males in Wales at the time that left school in 1985, I was the only one out of hundreds of black males that actually went to college. And then when I went into the catering industry, I started to realize that my skills was being used to train other people from other groups, but I couldn't get upward mobility. So I decided to basically leave the profession, speak out against the sort of injustices, and try to help the next generation of black males who's going to go through exactly the same thing that I went through, because as far as I was concerned, very little changed as far as promoting upward mobility for, you know, black youngsters. So that was one of the reasons why I changed my career, to try to help people like Chris and other fellow young black males within the city.
For me, I would say growing up with my family, I always saw my dad in a mentoring role. And I was seeing him sometimes coming back from work and getting people off the street and just bringing them at home and giving them a wash, food, and always hearing him speak positively about, you need to do this, don't look at yourself that way. So from a very early age, I learned how to motivate others, but at the same time...
What I want to know is, I really appreciate that. Obviously, there have been a lot of barriers for all of you in the past and before when you were growing up as well, and I wanted you to share your struggles with some of the youth and let us know how it is that you got through them, what it is that helped you get through, what it is that gave you the strength to keep going through.
Yes, it's one of these things that's quite hard to explain sometimes. I remember a phrase many years ago that said, human beings are like tea bags. You don't know how strong or weak you are till you put in hot water. And I would say, yes, that is definitely true. That the struggles I've been through have made me stronger. One of the difficulties, of course, is when you're going through struggles, is sometimes you think to yourself, is it me? Or Is it something I've said, or is it just a system? And what I always encourage a lot of people, particularly people I mentor, is that you should have the attitude of, I am just as good as everybody else, that setbacks are there to teach you about life, don't give up, and most crucially, try not to look for excuses. Because sometimes some people use laziness as an excuse not to better themselves. Things are not always going to go perfect the first time round. Everybody gets setbacks. Sometimes a lot of people use, I hesitate to say the color of the skin, but sometimes people say, oh, I didn't get as far as I could have because of the color of my skin. And I say, if you have no evidence, always have the attitude of, I might not have been good enough this time, but I will work twice as hard. I point now to the example of Lewis Hamilton, Formula One driver. He's about to win the World Championship for the first time. First British person to do so. A lot of setbacks initially, but he's never given up. And I always say, everybody has setbacks, but learn from it. Don't use it as an excuse to lie down and give up, and try again. Every successful person in life has had setbacks and learned from it. And that's what I try to encourage everybody to do.
I think for me, I think the reality for me was that every time someone told me I couldn't do something, I was determined to prove them wrong and not to prove myself right. So that was a driving motivational force, an inspirational force for me. So I think that the more challenges and barriers people put out for me, the more hurdles I got over, was the more confident I became within myself in the environment that I was in. So I think for me as an individual, I think if I didn't experience those challenges and those barriers, I certainly wouldn't be here. Feeling I had to prove something to myself and try to help the next generation, because that's always been my focus really, was what I could do to pass on to the next generation. That's it basically.
I think when it comes to obstacles, we all different individuals and there's different personalities. I, for instance, I thrive on obstacles. I love to see them and to be able to overcome them. At the same time, I find them as a tuition tool because it gives me the opportunity to explore more in a situation. When I do find obstacles coming from other people where they're blocking my way, I've always sort of found a way to just go around them. I've never been one to really want to grab the bull by his horn, as they say, and create some sort of commotion or some sort of activism or anything. I think I've always had a soft approach because I believe that whatever I'm going to achieve depends mostly on me, regardless of the existence of an obstacle or not. So as long as I can find a way to go around it and be able to still achieve, it may be the longer way, but I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm in competition with myself. So as long as I can be better than me that I was yesterday, to me that's an achievement. So I always say that success is a state of mind, of doing what you're capable of doing to become the best you're capable of becoming. And once you can get to that level, you can't be like a disciple, or you can't say that, look, I've only been to college and that's the best I can be. No, I'm still pushing myself to that level, but each time the obstacles come, I embrace them, I make them part of the journey, and I keep going.
Mistakes, but being there for them, to give them advice, but not to be too hurt when they don't take the advice. Do things their own way, make the mistake you predicted, that you didn't tell them, and then help them out. But more than anything else, patience, patience, patience. I would say that is, have that in bucket loads, patience.
I'm gonna write that down right now.
Well, what I can say is I always go by these three letters, HCH. BH, and it's humility, confidence, and hunger. Is you have to look in your community and say, who do I want to be like? Is a mom, is a dad? Have the realistic goals. You know, I've been working with CJ since he was 11, and we've had a lot of telling off. But he takes you on the chin, because it's funny, you would see CJ sat here with his hair and everything, but he's a very inside, introvert person. But we've worked on radio, we've been on stage, we've done everything, because it's like, look, you've got that capability, you've got those qualities in you, and you can nurture somebody to come out, but you have to allow yourself to be malleable. It's like clay. If you want to be hard, we're not going to be able to work with you. And I think that humility, confidence, and that hunger to want to see things through would be able to take you further, and be probably able to achieve whatever it is that you can achieve from whatever background. And I also say that you can be first generation migrants or immigrants, you can be refugees or asylum seekers, whatever. The sky has never been a limit for anyone. People have been in worse conditions than we are.
Because they've been through that journey already. And if you're willing to listen and learn from them and take their advice, you'll find that things can be a lot easier for you. So try and find, if you're going through something, if you're going through any kind of struggle, try and find your mentor, because it can make a world of difference to you. Thank you.